Yo, YouTube, what's up with your boy, Sports and Fitness Rants? I'm back, guys. Click that like button. Subscribe to my channel. What's up, y'all? Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. Got another great video for you guys today, as usual. You guys know the deal on this channel, man. It's all about setting the record straight. Stopping the lies, stopping the narratives. Stopping them from rewriting history. And remember, holding these guys to a standard. And it's not just the basketball players, guys, that we're holding to a standard. It's also these ex-NBA players, these people in broadcasting, in the media now, these people on their podcasts. We have to hold them to a standard, right? And stop them from bending reality and rewriting history, guys. And in this video, we're going to talk about Kevin Garnett and the comments that he made recently, exposing Anthony Edwards and those stupid comments that Anthony Edwards made, right? We've been talking about this. I made a video about this. A lot of other YouTubers have done videos on Anthony Edwards' comments exposing himself, trying to talk down on the previous eras and the skills and all the stuff. And Kevin Garnett came out along with someone like Magic Johnson. I did that video the other day about Magic Johnson, standing up and setting the record straight in that fool. And Kevin Garnett had some comments also. But when Kevin Garnett made his comments, and I listened to what he said, once again, this exposes Kevin Garnett and exposes Paul Pierce. These guys are complete hypocrites. And this is what I'm talking about. If you don't stand on integrity, then you are a hypocrite and you're going to expose yourself. You're not standing on anything. These guys are all over the place. And I agree with what Kevin Garnett said. He's on the money with the things that he said in relation to Anthony Edwards' comments and the skills of guys in previous eras and things of that nature. But he exposed his partner sitting right next to him, Paul Pierce, and he exposed comments that he's made recently also about this era. And we're going to talk about this video, guys. And I want to thank you guys, everyone across the world, everyone across the states has been supporting my channel, guys. Once again, I am truly, truly humble, guys, for all support, man. The true basketball fans are standing up, man. Shout out to everybody in the membership, man. Thank you guys, man. And you guys know what to do. Turn the volume all the way up. Hit that play button. Remember, these videos are for educational purposes. And let's roll. So, yes, guys, like I said, man, I just want to do a brief video on the comments that Kevin Garnett made in response to Anthony Edwards and the nonsensical things that he says. It is, guys, Anthony Edwards, like I said, he continues to bury himself further and further, and he continues to expose himself as not really knowing the history of the NBA. And like he admitted, he did not watch this stuff growing up, so he should have left a comment at that. I didn't watch this stuff growing up. I have no comment on that, man. Michael Jordan is this or Michael Jordan's that. But he continued to talk, and he made himself sound stupid, and he's been exposed, not by just people like me, the fans, other YouTubers, but also by ex-NBA players, Magic Johnson. And in this video, we're going to talk about Kevin Garnett and the comments that he made. Now, I believe Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce have a podcast. I don't know the name of the podcast. I don't listen to these guys' podcasts, man, right? Listen to my stuff. Listen to my videos, all right? I listen to some of these other YouTubers out here, the people who are actually holding on to their integrity and are giving you the honest facts, right? And they're staying right in that same lane. They're not flip-flopping all over the place like a Kevin Garnett. So if you guys don't know, Kevin Garnett came out and made some comments about Anthony Edwards, and he basically said that the guys in this era would not be able to play 20 years ago. Those are the exact words. The guys today would not be able to play in the NBA 20 years ago. And he went on to talk about the physicality of the game, the way that these guys went about the business, how it was more grown man energy. Right? These guys were grown men. I always tell you guys this. These guys were grown men that went out there, gave effort, right? They went out there and battled, right? They had a heart. They had grit. These guys were tough, man. They showed up to work. These guys didn't get paid all this money. They had to show up to work to get their money, to earn their roles on these teams to get the money. Now these guys are just giving all this money without really earning it the right way. And Kevin Garnett talked about that stuff, and he's right on the money when he talks about the physicality of the way the game used to be. He talks about the way these guys carried themselves, right? He talked about guys just chucking up all these shots and not making them, and your teammates would check you and be like, yo, man, what are you doing? Guys standing around on defense, not giving the effort. He talked about guys would get called out in the locker rooms and things of that nature. But when Kevin Garnett, or when I listen to Kevin Garnett say these things about the NBA 20 years ago, 25 years ago, the physicality of the game, the way the game was played, the approach, the mindset of these guys, I immediately thought, Kevin Garnett, you're literally exposing yourself. You're contradicting the things that you were just saying months ago. Now, I don't remember when it was, but I did a video, I don't know, 6 months ago, 5 months ago, 4 months, whatever the hell it was. I did a video. And I talked about Kevin Garnett and some of the comments that he made on that podcast with him and Paul Pierce. And Kevin Garnett was talking all reckless, like the way he talks, N-word this, bro that, MF-er this, cursing all over the place, a lot of these guys. You can't listen to their stuff because it's like every other word's a curse. So I talked about that and how Kevin Garnett comes across as extremely unintelligent. And like I said, the way he talks is very ghetto and it's just not classless. It's classless. But he was talking about LeBron James and how we ain't never seen LeBron James. We ain't never seen no one do what LeBron James is doing. All this stuff he was talking about, LeBron James in comparison to the Michael Jordans and, what LeBron James has been doing, the longevity of LeBron James. And I told you guys, it didn't make any sense what Kevin Garnett was saying. He's talking about, we ain't never seen no one like LeBron James. We ain't never seen no one do what LeBron James is doing. And I talked about this makes no sense because once again, and Kevin Garnett exposes that notion when he says these guys couldn't play 20 years ago because the game was more physical. It was different. This is what we're always talking about with LeBron James. LeBron James dominating, right, or quote-unquote dominating this weak, soft era. They talk about LeBron James, quote-unquote, longevity in this weak, soft era where he's standing around on defense, not giving the effort on the defensive end. He's allowed to load manage and skip out games and all this stuff. Kevin Garnett was talking about these things that these guys do today that they wouldn't be able to do 20 years ago. But then you say LeBron James, we ain't never seen none like LeBron James. And then he turns around like a couple of weeks later and then talks about he's on that new juice. Like, come on, Kevin Garnett's all over the place, man. And this is why I say these guys lose their credibility. They lose their cachet. You don't want to listen to what they say, even if they're right on the money. And Kevin Garnett's right on the money with the comments he made in relation to the Anthony Edwards comments and the physicality of the game and all that stuff. He was right on the money. I listened to what he said. He was right. But once again, who wants to listen to Kevin Garnett now? When you were just saying a couple months ago that we ain't never seen none like LeBron James. We ain't never seen anyone do anything like what LeBron James is doing. But you literally just exposed this era as being weak and soft. And these guys not having the same mindset, the toughness, the grit of the guys 20 years ago in the previous eras. So when you say that we've never seen anything like LeBron James, Kevin Garnett, that's why I said in the video, you sound stupid. Because LeBron James is literally cheating the game, but like we all know, LeBron James ain't playing no defense. He is not a true competitor. He's not a true leader. Getting coaches fired, so he's not coachable. He refuses to play in an actual system that actually help his teammates, help him. None of these things. But Kevin Garnett gonna sit there and say, we ain't never seen nothing like LeBron James. We ain't never seen no one do what LeBron James do. What is LeBron James doing? You just disqualified his era. So you contradict yourself. When you talk about the greatness of LeBron James versus some of these other guys that played in previous eras, it don't add up, Kevin Garnett. And once again, when you say crazy things, then when you say something that makes sense, no one wants to listen to. These guys are like the boy who cried wolf. They talk all this stuff. You guys remember Rasheed Wallace? He said that Michael Jordan wasn't that great of a defensive player. Like he said he may have been overrated defensively. I mean, these are the nonsensical things these guys say. And then Rasheed Wallace wants to turn around and actually say something that makes sense. He actually wants to defend these guys. I don't want to listen to it. And Kevin Garnett, not only did he expose himself or contradict himself from things that he said recently in the past, but you just made the guy you're sitting next to, Paul Pierce, look like a straight fool. Do you guys remember a couple of weeks ago when we were doing all these videos on the USA men's Olympic team versus the 92 Dream Team? You guys remember the video I did on Paul Pierce? You guys remember what Paul Pierce said about the 92 Dream Team and the guys that played on that team versus this current Olympic team? Paul Pierce literally said that this Olympic team would dominate. That was the exact wordage he used. Dominate the 92 Dream Team. He said that guys like Anthony Davis and Bam Adebayo were better than Patrick Ewing and David Robinson, Joel Embiid. Like, you got to be kidding me right now. He tried to make it seem like the guys on the 92 Dream Team couldn't shoot or dribble. There was no shooters. He said, Larry Bird's not a shooter. Michael Jordan can't shoot. John Stockton, Chris Mullin, these guys are not shooters. Patrick Ewing, one of the greatest shooting big men in the history of the game. David Robinson didn't have a jump shot. Karl Malone didn't have a mid-range game. But Paul Pierce wants you to believe that the 92 Dream Team would be dominated by this Olympic team. But then the guy sitting right next to him, his podcast partner, right, is saying that the guys wouldn't be able to play 20 years ago. So which one is it? You are contradicting yourselves. You made Paul Pierce look stupid, Kevin Garnett, while he's sitting right next to you. Sitting right next to you. The other guys that today's ever, they couldn't play 20 years ago. But Paul Pierce just said 2 weeks ago that the guys on that team and all those guys on that team playing this week era would dominate the 92 Dream Team. But Kevin Garnett says that these guys would not be able to play 20 years ago. So are we to believe that Tyrese Halliburton would be able to play in the 90s? Hell no. Devin Booker playing in the 90s? Hell no. Joel Embiid with his frail, soft ass? No way, man. I told you guys like Kevin Durant would get exposed. Steph Curry would have a hard time. LeBron James in the 90s? I'm telling you guys right now, it ain't the same thing. Bam Adebayo? He's greater than these guys in the 90s and a Patrick Ewing or a Hakeem Olajuwon, a David Robinson, a Shaquille O'Neal, Alonzo Mourning. I'm not impressed with the guys on that team, the Drew Holidays of the world. These guys that were playing, Anthony Edwards that was on this team. You're going to tell us that those guys couldn't play 20 years ago, but Paul Pierce says these guys would dominate the 92 Dream Team. Which one is it? And I'm a guy like, Kevin Garnett is sitting right next to Paul Pierce. Like, you guys do this show regularly, I guess, and you guys contradict yourselves. That's what I'm saying, guys. These guys don't stand on integrity. That's what integrity is, guys. It's literally, guys, doing the right thing when no one else is looking, saying the right thing, the facts, no matter what. You're not taking money or having people sway your opinions one way or another based off of some nonsense. You state the facts objectively, and you're honest about the facts. Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, a lot of these other ex-NBA players, the J.J. Redick, the Kendrick Perkins of the world, these guys are not honest. They're very disingenuous. Gilbert Arenas is a dirtbag piece of garbage, Gilbert Arenas. Every chance he gets to tear down somebody else with nonsense, Gilbert Arenas will be there. Complete hypocrite, Gilbert Arenas. Guys all over the place, has no integrity. So you have no credibility. Think about Isaiah Thomas. The man's all over the place. 1 year, he's talking about Scottie Pippen ain't on his level, and who the hell is Scottie Pippen that not want him on the Dream Team? He said that Scottie Pippen was beneath Grant Hill. He could never carry the league like Grant Hill could. Now Isaiah Thomas is trying to tell you, want you to believe that Scottie Pippen could have won a championship without Michael Jordan, but Michael Jordan, they always tell us, he ain't never won without Scottie Pippen. Michael Jordan can't win never without Scottie Pippen. But Scottie Pippen now, all these years later, Isaiah Thomas going to say he could have won without Michael Jordan? Once again, you have no credibility. I say, who's really listening to Isaiah Thomas? The dude's an all-time great player, but because he lacks any honor and integrity, no one will listen to him. No one cares what he has to say. I have more credibility than Isaiah Thomas does. Absolutely. I have way more integrity than these guys do. Everything remains the same on this channel. It's about the facts, guys. Setting the record straight. So although I appreciate what Kevin Garnett said, and he's on the money with his comments, he contradicted himself and Paul Pierce. And you exposed yourselves. You guys are like a bunch of idiots. You guys look like you don't know what you're saying and that you're just saying things for clicks and views. That's all you're doing. Paul Pierce goes on that show Undisputed and says all kinds of nonsensical things. He's all over the place. And then you come on a podcast with Kevin Garnett, and Kevin Garnett says these guys couldn't play 20 years ago. But Paul Pierce just said that these guys would dominate the 92 Dream Team. Dominate them. Not that he thinks that they would beat them maybe, or that it's a close game. He said they would dominate them easy. And he said the 92 Dream Team couldn't shoot. What? Once again exposed, Paul Pierce exposed, not being honest, being very disingenuous. And I'm telling you guys right now, I do not believe a lot of these guys watched the NBA in the 80s and the 90s. I feel like they didn't watch it. Once again, just because you played in the league does not mean that you watch these games and you respect the history of the game. And Kevin Garnett came in the late 90s, played in the late 90s against Michael Jordan's Bulls. He faced the 96 Chicago Bulls. Kevin Garnett as a rookie, I believe that was his rookie season. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong. But he faced against the Chicago Bulls. He went against the Shaq and Penny. The Shaq and Kobe Lakers. Actually, probably he went against Shaq and Penny and the Orlando Magic also. But he went against the Shaq and Kobe Lakers. You know, he battled against in that Western Conference against Tim Duncan Spurs. So he's been around and he's seen a lot of these games. He battled against LeBron James when he was on the Boston Celtics. So he knows exactly what he's saying. And that's why I said he's right with the comments he made. But once again, when you have no integrity or you don't hold on to the integrity or the honor, right, and the facts, then you sound like an idiot. You're contradicting yourself. So I don't want to listen to you now. I don't want to believe what you have to say. Your words don't mean anything. They don't hold as much weight as they should. I mean, Paul Pierce just literally said that the 92 Dream Team would get dominated by guys that Kevin Garnett literally just said the other day wouldn't have been able to play 20 years ago. Which one is it? Because the facts remain. The guys that played in the 90s had a lot more heart, a lot more grit. They were tougher. They were more fundamentally sound. They gave more effort consistently on both sides of the ball. And they were highly skilled players back in the 90s also. Don't believe the hype. And that's a problem for a lot of these ex-NBA players, these guys with these podcasts. They got these podcasts and they're just talking. They're just talking and talking for views, for money. That's all it is for these Gilbert Arenas, only there for the money and the clicks, man. He ain't giving you guys the honest facts. He's not educated on the history of the game. This is why he gets exposed every other week. But yet, fools are still watching his channel, still watching his videos, still subscribe to that fool. Don't make no sense. So once again, you guys know to do this channel, man. Kevin Garnett, all-time great player. Like I said, probably a top 5 power forward in the history of the game. One of the great two-way players in the history of the game, man. I got a lot of respect for KG's game and what he brought to the table during his career. But since he's been retired, a lot of these guys, since they retire, they get these podcasts, they get a platform now to speak. They just say crazy things that don't add up to reality. And what he said about Anthony Edwards is running the money, but you literally contradicted things that you have said recently in the past. Same thing with Paul Pierce, who was just trashing the 92 Dream Team. You can't then turn around and say, yeah, these guys couldn't play 20 years ago. Apparently they could, because Paul Pierce says that they would dominate the 92 Dream Team. Guys like Anthony Edwards, Devin Booker, Tyrese Halliburton, Jason Tatum, Jrue Holiday, Joel Embiid. These are all current generation players that we all know for being in a soft era. Bam Adebayo. Anthony Davis is not frail. Kevin Durant's not frail. Steph Curry hasn't been frail in his career. LeBron James doesn't load manage. But they would dominate the 92 Dream Team. A team that was destroying teams. They weren't having close games against South Sudan or against Serbia or France. They didn't have to have a heroic performance from a Michael Jordan to save them, like Steph Curry had to save them. But Paul Pierce will say they'll dominate the 92 Dream Team. And he gave you no facts, nothing that explained that take. Nothing. They couldn't shoot, he said. That's what we're going with? They couldn't shoot? Well, we'll see how great this Olympic team would be shooting with the defense that the 92 Dream Team would be playing against them. These guys were struggling against teams that they should have been blowing out. So once again, Kevin Garnett exposes Paul Pierce. He contradicts himself. And a lot of these guys, they do the same thing. We want to believe them and we want to listen to their stories. But at the same time, they're not holding on to the truth, their integrity. They're all over the place. So how can you trust what they're saying? You guys know the deal, man. I'll catch you guys on the next one.